Hey guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Joseph. In today's video, we are building a really simple setup, and the reason is I noticed most of my studio setups have been really full and by that I mean like the props, the elements I'm choosing to add to my frame, they've been a little bit too much. But in this video, I'm just going to be using two main items. The first one is going to be the canvas backdrop that I received from Kate's Backdrop. I've spoken all about that in a previous video. I'm going to link it here or there, you can check it out. And then the main prop is going to be my newly purchased wardrobe that I bought for my studio room my YouTube studio room. I'm working on that. As soon as I'm done, I'm going to take you guys on a tour so you see how the place looks. But it has these interesting textures on there that I felt I could use for a photo shoot before I move it into the room, and so that was the main prop that I used. Now that is a dark element, and my backdrop, the canvas backdrop too, because it's further back in the frame, is also going to go dark, and that is the main theme I was going for. I wanted to go for like a really dark tone in these series of images. Now what I also did to further enhance this color tone is to style the model with a black dress, a black silky dress. So it's silky, so it can catch a little bit of light, but because it's dark, we're going to have a relatively darker frame overall. So my subject is styled in a dark dress. The main prop in the background is dark, and then the canvas backdrop, because it's also further back in the frame, is going to go dark. Now when you're working with such dark tones, sometimes you need to bring a little bit of interest to your frame, and the way we went about this is by choosing a subject that would complement that dark tone that we're going for, and that's a light skin model. So she is going to contrast against like the entire dark elements in the frame, but even with that, it was still not enough. We still wanted to find a way to draw more interest straight onto our subject, and so what we did is to use accessories and makeup. So with the accessories, we gave her these pearl earrings which are white and long, so automatically it's going to catch the lights as I'm going to be using to light my subject, and because it's white, it's also going to serve as another element of interest. So to go straight to her face, we decided to give her a red lipstick, and you know, red is a very loud color and it pops, it really stands out. And also looking at the entire frame, there isn't any color in there apart from her skin tone, so using the red was like a good choice just to draw focus or attention straight onto the face of our subject. Now the last thing that we did is the hairstyling. She has really long hair and it's also dark, so we moved the hair to one side just so we could see her face really carved out and make it pop. And then later on, we also held a pony because of the earrings that we gave her, and then just let loose a little bit of the hair in the front just to make the whole thing look really pleasing and draw more attention to her face. So enough of all the things that went into the planning. I'm going to talk about my lighting and my camera gear. So today's shoot, we also went with a 2-light setup, and the choice of the modifiers I went with were also going to complement the entire theme that we had worked this plan around. So if we're going for a dark tone or like a moody series of images, if I went with like a parabolic, that light is just going to cast or throw everywhere, and it's going to look washed out, it's going to look bright, and so we're going to lose the essence or the core message or the core feature, which is a dark tone in the images. And so I chose my 26-inch beauty dish from Glow, and that was my main modifier of choice. I chose a smaller modifier because I wanted to focus the light on my subject. I also put a grid on there because the grid is going to make the light even narrower and prevent it from spilling all around. Now to also add another level of interest or separation of my subject from the background, I added a strip box with a speed light in there, and that is just going to serve as a rim light so that she's separated even more from the backdrop. So in the beginning, I turned it completely away from the backdrop so that light doesn't spill onto the backdrop, and it was edging her out really nicely. So you see that there's this light just cutting her out of the backdrop so she looks brighter on that end. But later on, I also turned that strip box a little bit towards the backdrop so I could add a hint of light on there so it doesn't go completely dark. So now to tie everything in, because she was just standing there in the frame when I was capturing some of the images, I just wanted to add one more element of interest, and that was going to be this white flower that I gave her. So that also draws attention and adds like another extra story to the images that we are creating. So you'd see the way she even played with the roses, the prop, just added like another level of interest. So you can see we've been able to still create interesting images in the studio without having too many props that you have to think so much in terms of organizing or placement. We just used a canvas backdrop, we just used a wardrobe with some interesting textures on there, and then we just added a plant later on in the day. So this is like a really simple setup. I'm sure you can recreate it in your own way. You don't need to have the wardrobe. Find anything interesting in your house and create a simple setup just so you're not stuck with these boring plain backdrops. These elements, when you add them to your frame, is really unique to your subject, it's really unique to the story you're telling, and it can't be replicated easily. And that is the reason why I'm always building these interesting sets, because I want every shoot I do to be unique, to be different, and to be interesting, because you won't find these setups when you go out anywhere. This is something that you custom build for yourself, and that's something I think if you do, it's going to elevate your images, take it from basic to extraordinary. Okay, so I think this is it for the planning and the lighting and the camera gear that I use for this shoot. Enjoy the rest of the behind the scenes. Okay, so if you made it to this point, I really want to thank you guys for taking your time to watch the video all the way to the end. If you found it interesting, if it helped you, if it inspired you in any way, leave a like and let me know in the comments down below if you want to see simple setups like these. If you're also going to try it out, do and tag me on Instagram at Phloshop. And by the way, I'm going to be putting the raw files of some of these images inside my Patreon. So if you're not a patron, go down into my description, click the link and become a patron, because in there you're going to have access to raw files. Anytime I release behind the scenes footage like this, I'm putting raw files in my Patreon, and it's month on month on month. So every month you are guaranteed of at least 4 different raw files to practice your editing with. So whilst you're on there, also check out my website. I know it's a shameless plug. Go on there, I have a digital store where I'm selling presets, LUTs, and I also have some freebies on there that you can check out. So if you copy anything, thank you, because you're supporting the channel, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Remember, don't ever give up.